Hi everybody, this is the Math 10C Exponents and Radicals review package, and this is question 20, short answer 20. And we're going to do all of these because the question says write each of these with a positive exponent. Okay, you got to remember that a negative exponent really just means for us to reciprocate. So c to the negative 4, that negative is going to cause a reciprocal to happen in the base, so it becomes 1 over c to the 4, and then we'll just put the 4 down there. So basically that 4 as an exponent can migrate with that base there. Over here, the issue with this question really is just that you recognize that negative 2 is only an exponent on the base just below it. It's not an exponent on the m. This is not mn to the negative 2. This is m n to the negative 2. Okay? The only way that both of those would occur is if there's brackets around that. So this really, the m doesn't move, but the n does get reciprocated. It drops into the denominator, and away you go. Now let's take a quick look at the other ones in this particular question. C. Same thing here. Same thing here. Notice that the 3, again, there's no brackets around this, so that 3 is not being taken to a negative exponent, and so this becomes simply 3 in the numerator. That's that 3 right there. And the x to the negative 3, that negative exponent drops that down into the denominator. Okay. Over here, 4m cubed n to the negative 2, exactly the same thing as we just saw there. The 4m in the numerator, 4m cubed I should say, stays, doesn't go anywhere. And that n to the negative 2, the negative causes it to reciprocate the base, and that drops into the denominator. Okay. Now, here's the trick one. Okay. That is very tempting. It's very tempting. No matter how many times you've done this, it's still really tempting to want to cancel those negatives out. You see them both there, and you want to do this. But again, they are serving two very, very different purposes. Not only that, but that negative 4 is just an exponent on the x. So that negative is going to cause this thing to reciprocate, but just the x. And the negative 2 is not going to do anything. It's just going to stay there. So negative 2 over x to the 4. Now here, this is probably the most interesting of the group here, because you got a bunch of negative signs in here. That negative is just a negative, it's the sign on the whole thing here. But the x to the negative 3, the y to the negative 2, those two negatives right there are going to cause these powers to reciprocate. So the negative 5 is going to stay in the numerator, and then the x cubed, sorry, you can probably hear the train going by, and then it's going to become y squared there. So those two terms will go down because they both have negative exponents. And that's all that's going to happen there.